Good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony, and welcome back to another episode of God is a Secret. Now, if you have not already, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we need to hit that goal of 1 million subscribers within a year, and we also need to get 2,000 as quickly as possible so my buddy Chad quits smoking once and for all. And with all that out of the way, it is now time to get into the topic for tonight's video, which is life is not random. And the reason life isn't random is quite simple. God has a unique, specific plan for each and every one of us. And here's the thing. I know I've talked about God's plan in a previous video, but it's such a broad topic, and in this video, I'm going to cover it from a slightly different angle. Because here's the thing. When a lot of people hear that God has a plan for their life, they don't realize that that literally applies to every single tiny little thing that happens to them. And yes, I really do mean every tiny little thing that happens to you is part of God's plan. Every good thing that happens is a blessing from God, and every bad thing that happens is a blessing from God. Now, my loyal viewers that have seen my previous videos understand why I did the air quotes when I said every bad thing that happens, because there is no such thing as a bad thing. And that's, of course, because every bad thing that happens causes pain, and pain is beautiful because pain makes you uncomfortable, and when you're uncomfortable, you're forced to grow. And when you grow, you become a better, more evolved person, which is why bad things are honestly more of a blessing than good things. I mean, that's why 50 Cent says God's a seamstress who tailor-fitted my pain. Because, of course, all the specific pain that he went through growing up and just, throughout his career is what turned him into this very successful man that he is today. But beyond all that, the reason I felt so compelled to make this video about life not being random is because it's so important to understand that every single tiny little thing really is part of God's plan. Because here's the thing, once you realize that, it allows you to stop dwelling on every little bad thing that happens to you. Because sure, as humans, we don't like to admit that we do this, but we have a real bad tendency to dwell on all the bad things that happen to us and think along the lines of like, oh, if I would have just done this slightly differently, I could have avoided that. Oh, this sucks and I'll overcome it, but if I would have just done this slightly differently, I could have avoided it. And here's the thing, sure, maybe you could have done something slightly differently to avoid something, but at the same time, there's a reason you didn't avoid it. Like, I'll put it like this, if God's trying to teach you a lesson, no matter how long it takes, he's going to teach you that lesson. But it goes deeper than that too, though, because obviously, like I said, if God's trying to teach you a lesson, no matter how long it takes, he's eventually going to find a way to teach you that lesson. But at the same time, though, not every bad thing that happens is just to teach you a lesson. Sometimes bad things that happen are simply just thrown at you to throw off the timing of things. Like, a good example would be like, let's say like maybe you couldn't find your keys and, that's a bad thing. And, obviously, you're probably not going to learn a lesson about like losing your keys, but at the same time, though, that bad thing could also be good and throw off the timing, like I was saying, because, maybe if you would have left the house 5 minutes earlier, you would have gotten into an accident. And that's why not only should you not dwell on bad things, well, also because when you dwell on bad things, then, the bad thing already happened. Don't dwell on it and let it ruin your future, too. But not only should you not dwell on bad things that happened, but you also shouldn't let bad things get you down in the moment either. Now, here's the thing. I realize it's easier said than done, and, clearly I'm not perfect. Clearly I don't always have a smile on my face. Clearly I've been in some situations that have made me very angry. But at the same time, though, the older and older I get, the more and more I realize that no matter what happens, it's just stupid to go through life with anything other than a smile on your face. And the thing is, like I said, I realize it's easier said than done. But at the same time, though, like I just mentioned, like maybe like you lose your keys. And here's the thing, like I've certainly blown up and way overreacted about losing my keys in the past. But nowadays when stuff like that happens, I realize, what? Probably a reason for it. Again, like I'm not saying every time you lose your keys, that was to avoid an accident. But at the same time, though, anytime any little bad thing happens, again, easier said than done, but you should always try to keep a smile on your face and not blow up. Because, again, every little thing is part of God's plan. You never know the reason why that happened. And since God's plan literally applies to every tiny little thing, even tiny things as small as losing your keys, you can bet it also applies to all the different people you meet too. Every single person you meet is certainly a person you meet for a reason. Now, here's the thing. I saw this meme on Facebook the other day that I just cannot get out of my head because I just disagreed with it so much. It was like, do you ever think about a person and just think to yourself, I wish I could have just walked right by them instead of meeting them. But I just disagreed with that so much because for one, I do not regret meeting a single person in my whole entire life. And here's the thing, that person that you would say that about, that, I wish I had just walked right by them and not even met them, that's the person you should be most thankful for meeting, because the person that causes you that insane amount of pain is probably the person that caused you to also do an insane amount of growth. And that's why personally, I've got nothing but love for the people that have caused me the most pain in life. Like those people are my favorites. Those people are the best because they caused me to do the most growth and become the amazing person that I am today. But even if it wasn't for that, I would still have nothing but love for all the people that have caused me the most pain. Because, well, here's the thing. I mean, it's like I mentioned in my other video. One of the stupidest things you can do is hold a grudge against somebody or just hold long-term hatred towards somebody. Because, like I said, whenever you're not at peace and whenever you're angry at anybody, your decision-making is always going to be worse than it would otherwise be. So, just for that reason, among many other reasons, the people that have caused me the most pain, nothing but love for them. But with all of that being said, always remember, life is not random. Whenever bad things happen, even the tiniest little things that seem insignificant, even those things, all happen for a reason. And that's why, no matter what, you should always try to go through life with a smile on your face. And with all that being said, thank you for watching. I love you all. God bless.